The attack by Ukrainian drones on the strategic Kupol plant in Izhevsk, where the Russian Federation produces drones used in military aggression against Ukraine, was successful. As ASTRA reports, citing sources in the region's emergency services, one of the two launched UAVs flew into the window of production shop number 106. The second hit the roof of shop number 110 and exploded. The drone attack caused a fire and the collapse of the building's roof, as a result of which the plant's operations were stopped. The article specifies that the attack affected workshops where metalworking, microchip soldering, and assembly of finished drones are carried out. Before these strikes, drones were assembled there around the clock in 3 shifts. Journalists published photos from the plant after the drone raid, which showed damage to the above-mentioned workshops. Local publics also published footage of the attack results. The plant was hit on the morning of July the 1st. Local residents posted images of drones flying overhead, as well as plumes of black smoke over the plant's territory. Later, the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine confirmed the attack, stating that they had accurately hit building number 1 at site number 1. The Kupol plant is one of the largest enterprises in the Russian military-industrial complex and part of the Almaz-Antey concern. Initially, it specialized in the production of air defense systems, including the Tor family of anti-aircraft missile systems, as well as the Saman M1 and Adjutant training systems. However, after the start of Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the plant expanded its activities, launching production of the Harpier A1 attack drones. Last fall, the company was placed under US sanctions. In addition, it is also included in the sanctions list of the European Union, Canada, and Switzerland. The facility produces Tor and Osa air defense systems, as well as Harpy attack drones for the Russian military, and is under international sanctions as part of Russia's defense industrial complex. With surgical precision, the Ukraine continues to carry out strikes against Russia's military-industrial enterprises, contributing to the war effort against Ukraine. Each such operation weakens Russia's offensive potential, disrupts weapons production chains, and proves that no part of Russia is a safe zone for its military infrastructure. As reported recently, drones of the Security Service of Ukraine successfully attacked the Kirovsk airfield in annexed Crimea, which has been part of the flight test center since the Soviet period. During Russia's war against Ukraine, helicopters were transferred here from the Dzhankoy airfield, and recently concrete shelters for aircraft began to be built at the Kirovsk airfield, which indicates serious intentions to use it. Recall, drones operated by the Security Service of Ukraine destroyed Mi-8, Mi-26 and Mi-28 attack helicopters and a Pantsir S-1 self-propelled anti-aircraft missile and gun system at the Kirovsk airfield. NASA firm's satellites recorded multiple fires in the western and eastern parts of the airfield, as well as near the runway in areas where aircraft are parked. After the fire, satellite images recorded traces of burns on the ground over an area of about 1 square kilometer. The Kirovsk airfield was built after World War II and was used as a base for fighter aircraft. Since 1961, aircraft testing has been conducted here, after the fighter regiment was disbanded in 1979. The airfield was completely transferred to the 3rd Scientific Testing Directorate of the State Research Institute of the Air Force, the flight testing service for anti-submarine defense aviation systems. The 3rd Directorate included, among other things, the Meganom and Chowder testing grounds. Tests of the Navy's aviation equipment were conducted, as well as tests of all aviation rescue systems, including parachute systems of decent spacecraft. The airfield was allocated a testing ground in the Black Sea near Cape Chowder and Feodosia Bay for testing anti-submarine systems. In February 1992, the Directorate came under the jurisdiction of Ukraine, and the 168th Flight Test Complex of the Ukrainian Air Force was formed on its base. After the annexation of Crimea, the airfield is subordinate to the State Flight Test Center of the Ministry of Defense of the Russian Federation, named after Chkalov. The Russian military began using the Kirovskoy immediately after the capture of Crimea. The Kirovsk airfield has a concrete strip 3 kilometers long and 54 meters wide, as well as a reserve dirt strip 2.2 kilometers long. It runs parallel to the main one. These parameters correspond to a first-class airfield. Such a strip can be used by almost all Russian fighter bombers and attack aircraft, as well as military transport aircraft. The Russian Federation used the Kirovskoy airfield, among other things, to practice elements of a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. During the first 2 years of the full-scale war, nothing is known about the use of the Kirovsk airfield. In April 2024, after the Ukrainian armed forces successfully struck the Dzankoy airfield, some of the helicopters from there were transferred to the Kirovsk airfield. In June of this year, OSINT analyst Def Mon wrote on the social network X that Russia had begun constructing shelters for aircraft at airfields in Crimea, including the Kirovsk airfield. The reserve lieutenant colonel of the Ukrainian armed forces then commented to Krim.Reli that Ukraine has a sufficient arsenal of weapons to destroy not only light hangars at Crimean airfields, but also concrete structures designed to protect military aircraft and helicopters. The subsequent attack on the airfield proved that this was indeed the case. The Ukrainian strike may have destroyed plans to use this airfield or postpone them indefinitely. Now the airfield is temporarily unprotected and its infrastructure is partially destroyed.